Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a recap on my second semester of FNP School. So I thought I would just go ahead and talk about how it went, the different classes that I had, how I thought the classes were, and just kind of giving tips on how I studied and all that type of stuff. And I will be putting a timestamp on the description box below. So in case you only want to hear one class or just certain things, you can go ahead and fast forward to that time. But thank you guys so much for being here, and let's get started. So first off, I have my first semester recap, and I'll go ahead and put in the cards up here now. So if you want to go ahead and watch that first to see what classes I took in chronological order, please go ahead and watch it, and then you can come back here. But this semester, I took Pharmacology, Biostatistics, and Concepts of Population Health. So in that first video, I said that I was going to take health assessment. So I want to get into that first. So when you are in FNP school, you have to find your own preceptors. So in my school, they really encourage you to take health assessment a semester before you start clinical, because that's like, you know, that health assessment and pharmacology are really the core foundation and, you know, pathophysiology and all that to being really successful in your clinical. So unfortunately, I was not able to find a clinical instructor or a preceptor at the time that I was supposed to. And I just wanted to let you guys know that, because it is not always so easy to find a preceptor, and it's really best that you start as early as you can, because you know, I don't want anyone to be in the position where, you know, they have to be delayed or anything like that because they couldn't find a preceptor. But I just wanted to let you guys know that it's not as easy as one may think. I definitely thought that it would be way easier than it was, but I just wanted to let you know so you guys have kind of like a heads up about it. So just try to find your preceptors as soon as you can, as soon as possible, and give yourself a lot of time. With that being said, I have found a preceptor, but I will be starting later in another semester than I would have been now. So for that reason, I did not take health assessment because I wanted to make sure that I took health assessment right before I started clinical. So that class I did not take. But I'm going to talk about pharmacology first, because I am sure that's what most people want to hear. So for my opinion, for pharmacology, I definitely thought it was a difficult course because, you know, sometimes in pathophysiology, you know, things kind of connect with each other. They make sense. You understand why if this is affected, then this would be affected or whatever. But in pharmacology, there's so many random medications, random names that there's no, like, nothing connects, nothing makes sense. So you're really having to learn how to memorize very well. The only thing that I will say is that I did find taking pharmacology now to be easier than when I took it in nursing school, because when you were in nursing school, for me, that was my first exposure to all the medications, side effects, modes of action, you know, all of that stuff. So having it all really quickly, you know, all at you in the first time, it was very overwhelming. And that's when I had to learn how to make you know, connections between the medications, kind of figure out a story in my head to connect the medication name to the side effect to the MOA, you know, all of that stuff. So having it now, when I've already had that exposure before, I started to remember how I studied for nursing school and quickly applied it here. So I kind of learned it faster so that I can get the core information in my head and then learn it at the provider level, how to prescribe, you know, and all of that stuff. So it was great to have had obviously the exposure before, because I think taking it now, even though we look at it in a different way, with, you know, having to diagnose and prescribe, which was different than a nursing school, I think because I had that great exposure and foundation, then I was able to apply that here quickly and then, you know, get the provider aspect into the class a lot faster. So I really enjoyed the class. Definitely it was difficult. What I do recommend is in each of your session. So like we have 13 sessions. So each week we have a different lesson plan. So each session they have objectives that they give you. And I really recommend that if you, when you go through the lecture, go through your book, to be honest, I used more of the PowerPoints that they gave us because they were very detailed and they explained themselves very well. And the book that we had was huge with full of information that I would not be able to remember half of that or a quarter or whatever. So I focused more on the PowerPoints. But when you're going through their PowerPoints, try to see if you can answer those objectives. And I think that's a great way to start studying. And then when you actually start studying for your, like we only had a midterm and a final. We didn't have, you know, like 4 different tests or whatever. So when I took my the midterm, I only gave myself 6 days to study. And to be honest, I wish I'd given myself more time. It was definitely very difficult of an exam, and I didn't study as properly as I should have. And I really quickly had to change the way that I studied for my final. And I'm so glad that I made that quick change. So I want to tell you is, first of all, when you're studying, make sure you understand and you can answer those objectives and not have to look it up. You know, make sure that you can rationalize it in your head, give a story, you know, really understand that. Then I really recommend giving yourself probably like 2 weeks to study for a test in pharmacology, just because there's so much information and everything is so detailed. And when you're an FNP, you need to know it at obviously a provider level. So there's that extra little step that you need to know. So I really recommend that you give yourself a lot of time to study for that, and you will be fine. And also, if they give you a study guide, really understand the study guide, because even though obviously not every single question's from the study guide, it's a great way to encompass like how to focus your studying, because there's so many medications. It's impossible to know all of them, know all their side effects, MOAs, whatever. So really make sure that you specify your time and really gather all your time through focusing on the study guide, because that's there to help you. So I really enjoyed pharmacology. It's kind of cool to start pretending to write prescriptions and stuff like that. So it's kind of getting more real, which is kind of neat. Definitely was a difficult class. It was definitely doable. I think, whether you recently went to nursing school or it's been a while, I think you can kind of get back into the groove when you do it at FNP school. So don't let that completely worry you. You do have to work hard. It's going to take a lot of your time, but you'll start remembering how you studied before and kind of, getting those tips back to where you are now. So that was the first class that I took. The second class that I took was Concepts to Population Health. So that was kind of like a public health course that I took in nursing. It's kind of the same thing. I enjoyed that class because in my first FNP recap, I talk about prioritization with classes, and I'll go over that again in this video. But I really liked concepts because, first of all, there was no exams, so that was a huge thumbs up for me. But the information was very interesting, and it was more of like a discussion board and homework based type class, and we had I think 1 or 2 papers, so it was more type of papers and research and communication and critiquing and stuff like that, and scenarios, versus having to learn the information for an exam. So obviously anytime you have a class without an exam, your stress level goes because that's just one less thing that you really have to focus and worry about. So it was really interesting. We had to do a paper about a health setting and how, an intervention that we can use for a specific problem, for a specific setting and a population. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed it because I was able to really remember a lot of the information from nursing school and apply it here. So again, certain terms that I probably forgot, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that in nursing school, and then it kind of quickly popped into my head again. So I really liked concepts. It was very interesting. Obviously, public health is really cool, and you're gonna have to really know that. Even if you're in a different setting than public health, you're still probably gonna have to deal with different types of patients and everything. So it's really important to know that and know the information under your belt. So I really enjoyed that class. The third class that I took was Biostatistics. Now, that class didn't have any exams. So again, stress level, it was very homework based. We had an assignment every single week. And I didn't really enjoy the class because, to be honest, when we collectively as a class got together, online, this particular class doesn't appear on the boards, I don't believe, or it doesn't really appear in your day-to-day life as an FNP. So to me, it was kind of like, it was a good class, and I enjoyed learning the different computerized programs like SPSS and stuff like that. But I gave that class a lower prioritization because I really didn't see how that was going to apply to when I start practicing. So it was a good class and I enjoyed it, but it definitely was probably my least favorite out of them all. And it was really neat to learn, again, the SPSS and everything, but I didn't give myself prioritization to that class. It was definitely more homework based. It's hard for me to really sit and tell you guys like what it was about because it was more of like following directions and learning the program and how to apply that program to answering questions and stuff like that. So if you do take it in your curriculum, it's really not that bad of a class. Just make sure you know what you're doing, read the chapters and everything. But that was my least favorite, I think, for this semester. But now I kind of want to go over prioritization because I don't remember if I talked about it in my first recap. I think I did, but I really wanted to discuss each semester. I think part of your responsibility and how you stay organized and successful is giving your classes prioritization. And I'm not saying that, one class matters and the other class doesn't. But what I am saying is that you have to give yourself priority to a class that's going to A, probably have an exam, and B, actually appear on your boards, and C, actually appear in your day-to-day life as an FNP. So for me, I gave a huge prioritization for pharmacology because that's obviously something that's going to be on the boards. We had an exam, 2 exams, and of course that's going to be in my day-to-day life as an FNP. So that I make sure that I really understood the information and I took more time to deal with that class. So my second prioritization of my classes was concepts of population health. Now, there obviously wasn't an exam, so I didn't have to really focus all this, time and energy to study for anything, but I really wanted to make sure that I knew the information because I will be dealing with that at some point, either during clinical or, probably some questions might be on the boards or, in my day-to-day life. So I made sure that that was definitely a high priority. So for biostats, obviously I wanted to do good. I'm not saying like you want to do really good here and you don't care about one class here, but you have to give yourself prioritization to be successful. So for biostats, I just made sure that I did what I was supposed to do in a timely manner, did it early, and gave my all, but I knew that since that's not going to be my day-to-day life, I can't stress so much about that when I have pharmacology to worry about. So I just really want you to think about that each time, each semester goes by. Give yourself like kind of a list of your prioritization so that you know what you might need to sacrifice more for or spend more time with and kind of, not worry about so much about another class. But that's kind of it. So I really did enjoy this semester. I thought it was a good semester. Since I had 3 classes a semester and last semester I had 4, it was definitely nice to, have one less class and really focus on what I needed to focus on. To be quite honest, I think if I had health assessment now with pharmacology, not that I couldn't do it, but I think it would have been really, really difficult to have both of them at the same time. So at least it was really nice that I was able to really focus hard on pharmacology. And the next semester when I take health assessment, that I can really focus on that, since those are 2 core items that I really need to start clinical and obviously start my career as an FNP when I graduate. But I did enjoy this semester. It was more relaxed, I think. I'm glad that 2 of my classes were more like paper-based and homework-based, so I didn't have to put too much time and effort and thought into them as I did pharmacology. So that was nice because my first semester I had 2 classes that required a lot. Like I think I had genetics and pathophysiology. So that was definitely more, heavy information based. So it was nice to kind of have like a break in a sense from that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or want to know any more about the classes, please feel free to reach out through email or you can message me. I'll leave my Instagram right here. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Remember to always, always believe believe in yourself, and please consider subscribing. I make nursing videos, and I'm gonna probably make more FNP School videos as my time goes along in class. And remember to always believe in yourself, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. All right, bye guys.